So, what did you guys want to talk about for today?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about guilty pleasures. And what does that mean exactly? A guilty pleasure is a thing that you like, but you are embarrassed to tell other people that you like it. So,
yeah, you feel guilty to get pleasure from it.
Right. And it brings you, you get a lot of pleasure from it. You like it, but you know that your culture or your friend group or your church or mosque or whatever, they're telling you you shouldn't like that. There's something wrong with you that you like that, but you know that you like it. It's just what you like. So I think, Socha, why don't you share like one of your guilty pleasures? What is something that you like that is maybe not cool?
Well, one that I also think that like guilty pleasures can be like associated with your own values or tastes. Like it's not the personality that you like to present to people. It doesn't like mesh with that maybe. Because for mine, it's not one that I would necessarily think other people would look down upon, but I usually look down upon it. So Seth MacFarlane shows are really stupid to me. Like all of them are. I don't like Family Guy. I don't like The Cleveland Show. I don't like any of them. But one of my friends when I was in college was like, oh, you should try American Dad. It's like really funny when you're drunk. And I was like, that can't be true. And then I came home drunk one day and I was like, let me put on American Dad. And it was really funny. And ever since then, I really like it. And I can be totally sober and watch it or whatever. But it's funny to me, and I just never thought I would like it because I just hate Seth MacFarlane shows so much.
Yeah, and for our listeners out there, Seth MacFarlane he's an animator, right? So they're cartoons, but they're not children's cartoons. They're for adults. And so the famous one was The Family Guy. That's like a really famous animated show that's on everywhere, right? All over the world.
But the humor in them generally is kind of low humor a lot of times.
Lowbrow humor. Yeah.
A lot of it is attacks on like famous movie stars, Hollywood actors and actresses,
Or like potty jokes and like just kind of lowbrow humor, just things that are like cheap shots or not sophisticated really. So maybe that's why I felt kind of embarrassed about liking one of the shows.
Yeah, it's not intellectual. It's just kind of like base humor, just kind of the lowest level. Very much like potty talk, children's kind of jokes almost. Okay, but not made for children. It's just so our listeners out there know. One of my guilty pleasures is watching reality TV, especially like on like Netflix. There are some new ones that are. Trying to think of what it was called.
I hope it's not these like the love reality shows, is it, Jack? It's the
it's the love like the couple reality shows where they.
Oh no!
I know.
Oh, Jack.
It's really bad. As a matter of fact, I worked for a dating reality show a long time ago. That was my first job after college. Was working for one of the first dating reality shows called Change of Heart. And so that goes way back. That's a very old one. But a lot of these new shows on Netflix are very much like about the couples go on a date with other people and then they decide, if they want to, right. Well, the one that I'm watching right now is the couples cannot see each other.
Love
and
is
they
blind.
talk to each other. Yeah. What is it called? It's called the
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name. They talk to each other through a wall, but they cannot see each other. And before the end of it, they have to ask the other person to marry them, but they still have never seen each other. They don't know what they look like. So that's a really crazy one. And I don't know. Kev, what do you think?
That one. Oh, sorry,
so what? Go ahead. Yeah.
I watched that one during the pandemic, the first season. I haven't seen it since then, but I watched the first season with my friend. We were like locked in during the pandemic, and we were in this like apartment in Chicago, and me, her, and her boyfriend would like sit down and watch Love is Blind. And it was crazy because the people, I mean, they definitely hired some people with very interesting personalities to be on the show. Or I guess cast some people with really interesting personalities. But sorry, I'm trailing off here. There was something important I was going to say about it. The show obviously has only conventionally attractive people, so it doesn't really matter that they can't see each other, I guess.
Yeah, that's like, true. Yeah.
I thought about that.
You know they're going to be good looking. There's a pretty good bet.
Well, at least they're in shape. Like they're not. Yeah, they didn't get any like people that are just kind of look like normal people. You know, they're like you
like normal people.
Yeah. Well, I think and why do I consider this a guilty pleasure for me is because for me it's not so much that I care what other people think about me anymore. When I was younger, I cared. I'm 45 years old. I don't care what people think about me, but it's guilty in that all the time I spent watching Love is Blind season 1, I could have read a book. I could have written something. I could have recorded a song. I could have made a podcast. I could have done anything, taken out the garbage, vacuumed the floor, something worthwhile, something good, but instead I spent my time just watching that kind of garbage. But I enjoyed it. So I don't know, like how guilty should I feel? Kevin, what do you think? Like my level of 0 to 10, how guilty should I feel about that?
I mean, if you're having fun with it, it's okay. I do think that there's better things to do than watch reality TV. But if you're enjoying your time, then maybe there aren't better things for you to do, because as long as you're enjoying the time, that's okay.
I feel like Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think Social has a better case for watching it than I do. Like you're in your 20s. You have time. I'm getting closer to death every day. So, for me to watch reality TV is definitely a waste of my precious time. But please go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like you end up learning things, though, without even knowing, because I watch a lot of MasterChef, for example, which just has Gordon Ramsay screaming at people, and it's, like, really ridiculous. But I remember my sister was watching some YouTube thing, and they had, like, a bake-off, and then they, like, cut into the cake, and it was a mess, and I was like, oh, he put too many eggs in it. But I just walked in at the moment when they cut into the cake. I didn't know what happened before. And my sister said, yeah, he put 12 eggs in. How did you know? And it was because I had been watching MasterChef, and like when the pastry came out a certain way, he was like, it's because of the eggs, so I could just tell from sight. So, it's not all bad.
You picked up some actual knowledge just from watching reality TV.
That's amazing.
I love the baking shows too. Nailed It is a great one on Netflix, and any Gordon Ramsay cooking show. They're fantastic.
The Great British Baking Show. That one's really fun.
Yeah. I've got one more. Kev, you kind of shared this one with me a little bit, but my other guilty pleasure is 80s music. And like, I can't stop listening to the B-52s lately.
I love the B-52s.
I know. They're great.
B-52s are great.
I know. and I've been listening to the Go-Go's again, and that's
Nice.
definitely a guilty pleasure. And just a lot of music from the 80s. And so I know
Kind of
it's
funny how
not
80s does seem like a time where music just wasn't great, but there was some really fun stuff at least happening in the 80s.
there was some good music coming out of the 80s, but yeah, it gets such a bad reputation, and so I almost feel guilty
Yeah.
telling people that I'm listening
Yeah,
to
70s
80s
was
music.
disco, the 90s was rock. What was the 80s?
The 80s was synthesizers and
Funky pop ballads and
yeah.
stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a cool guy, Music by Blanks on YouTube, and he takes like current today hits and makes them like 80s pop. And
Nice.
that's fun. You might enjoy that because he does a good job, I think. I wasn't around in the 80s. I was just out with my mom yesterday. This makes me sound like I think you guys are old, but I was just out with her, and the guy who owned the place we were at was playing a bunch of 80s hits, and my mom was like reminiscing about it. And she's like, oh my god, and they had the music videos up on the screen, and she was like, oh, she just kept like going on about these like Mexican 80s bands like Fresas con Crema and these other ones I didn't know and I don't know anything about, and I was like, oh. But some of the artists are still around, like Luis Miguel. I don't know if you guys know anything about him, but he's still popular nowadays, and
Yeah.
that was cool.
No, that's how I get. I get very nostalgic when I see like 80s music videos, because that's when MTV was created in the early 80s, and I grew up on MTV. That's what we watched, when we were young. So yeah,
I want my
music.
MTV.
I want my MTV. Yeah.
Yep. Great
Exactly.
video.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, there you go.
All
I
right,
think
well-
we got it, Kev. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So for everybody out there, what are your guilty pleasures? What are the things that you like that maybe you shouldn't, or maybe the things that your friends make fun of you for liking, but you like it anyway? And you can share with us because we won't judge, and we're curious to hear what your guilty pleasures are.
All right. Bye-bye.